I just got another package from Frankie. Anyone remember Frankie and his hair care products? This one is supposed to be a hair stick, but I suspect that it's better than that. Oh, TS100 accessories. Nice. I don't have those yet. And a carbon fastener kit? What's that supposed to be? Well, thank you, Frankie, for the accessories, and everyone else for watching. See you next time. The pouch feels heavy. There must be cushioning material in there. Ooh. Ah, now that video title makes sense too. This is a TS80 prototype. The latest development from the TS100 company eDesign. And design they did. What a beautiful iron. The OLED display looks the same, but that's where the similarities end. Since releasing their initial TS100, they've gathered a lot of experience in metal enclosures, and they are putting it to good use. An all-metal handle suits the soldering iron perfectly, and I love the fact that it's a bit smaller in all dimensions. Banana for scale. In fact, ergonomics are the only valid point of criticism for the TS100. Lately I prefer the shortest finger to tip distance, provided by JBC in this case. Now the TS80 comes close, it almost feels like a ballpoint pen. But no worries, your TS100 will stay viable after the release of this one. But they must have looked at Apple and at the community response after Apple removed the headphone jack. And they must have been like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do something similar. And then after a sudden touch of sanity, they did the opposite and added a headphone jack. I expect to see the first hacked TS80 audio player and power amplifier within the first month of availability. But they did ditch the DC barrel connector, and that is a bit of a questionable decision in my opinion. The TS80 is USB powered exclusively. How well that works with a brand new Quick Charge 3.0 compatible power bank will have to be determined in a few practical, realistic tests. As custom dictates, I'm heading out to gather some fresh capacitors, together with my trusty companion and a not yet trusty TS80. I'm feeling like high voltage caps, but they are so expensive and for good reason. They only grow in dangerous and hard to reach places, but there is a workaround. A trade secret, if you will. In places where the human has not yet succeeded in eradicating all wildlife, farmers can install electric fences to protect their precious plants from these hungry monsters using high voltage. That attracts these colorful high-voltage ceramic caps, and the hound in turn. Now I did realize just in time that I cannot safely harvest these with a TS80 and its metal handle. I might get a good shock myself, or worse, I could damage the soldering iron before we've tested it on the bench. So why don't we head over there and get down to business? Oh, you didn't expect me to just leave him there, did you? Anyway, let's take a look inside and find out how they managed to shrink the tool significantly. I don't think it's a matter of output power, because the classic TS100 had no heatsinking at all. Instead, they may have gotten rid of the STM32 daughter board, and overall smaller connectors. That's gotta be a major factor. But why this cover doesn't come off now is beyond me. Oh, there's a hidden screw underneath the push buttons. Sneaky. The aluminium parts are top-notch as always. And there we go, finally. This prototype looks pretty RTM to me. And so does the cartridge. The only other company I know that uses 3.5mm headphone jacks for soldering cartridges is Weller with their RT series. But I don't think it's an imitation. More about that in a moment. It seems like their internal name for this has been TS200 at some point. And here's the STM32 directly on the mainboard. Glad to see it. There are cheaper microcontrollers available that could get the job done, but this one is accessible to the open source community, which has always been embraced by the manufacturer. The other side has a few more discrete components. RT7272B is a step-down DC to DC converter. I mean, they seem to have enough space for it, but it sure seems like a bit of an overkill just to generate the 3.3 volt for the microcontroller. I don't even have to look up this cryptic part number. That's the power MOSFET driving the heater according to the copper polygons on the PCB. I can't find datasheets for these devices, but they are probably op-amps, reading thermocouple or resistance thermometer. Let's have a look. That's a thermocouple if I've ever seen one. I would even call it an ordinary Type K. The pinout doesn't match the infallible information I found on the internet, so I don't think that this is a Weller tip. Now before testing the performance, I want to make sure that neither power bank nor USB cable are bottlenecking. So I'm looking at the voltage over the input cap, and that doesn't look too bad. I can get rid of these ripples though by supplying 9 volt from a bench power supply. And as soon as replacement tips are available, you bet I'm going to supply more than that. The USB power delivery standard specifies up to 20 volt, but there's no hardware available for that yet. I'm pretty sure the TS80 will be compatible with that voltage, and then its performance will be much better. Right now at 9 volt it's a bit slow obviously. But this is not a realistic test. How about a normal solder joint? I don't think it'll be too terrible. I'm preparing 2 equal heatsink pads with a bit of flux and pieces of solder. I'm setting the irons to equal temperatures, and I can't think of anything to say while waiting for the TS80 to warm up. Nice board, isn't it? Completely deprecated now. I think I'm making another exciting soldering iron video this week. Gotta keep pace with all the progress in the industry. Have I ever told you about Patreon? Oh, there we go, finally. That was about as fast as my old 80 watt Weller, not too bad. That's already above average, and if it solders fine too, I'm giving it a pass for the lacking DC jack. What? What just happened? Surely that must be a mistake. Are you kidding me right now? I knew that the TS100 rarely draws more than 10 watt during soldering, so theoretically it is possible for the 16 watt TS80 to outperform it, but so unlikely. A more direct temperature measurement in the tip or a smarter regulation might be part of the story, but the power draw of both devices really shows what's going on. Not sure if I can trust the absolute reading of this cheap fake thermometer, but relatively speaking we should be able to tell if the TS80 is cheating. It doesn't look like it. Ah, the TS100 is a little low. That does make a difference. But 20 degrees C is not a game changer, so I'm calling the TS80's performance impressive. And the design too, most prominently. The assembly is much easier now that there are fewer small parts and screws. Their carbon handle is pretty cool, but I think I want a silicone one. But all in all, very nice. Looking forward to the release. Thank you for watching. I filmed this outro after our capacitor collecting trip, being absolutely sure that it would be a fine conclusion to the TS80's performance. Now that I've seen what it can do, it seems unjustified, so I'm speeding up the footage a bit.